Ladies and gentlemen, it has finally arrived. The finals of Deluxe is upon us. 2 fighters remain from this illustrious competition. After many grueling rounds in Stage 1 and Stage 2, all of their efforts are about to reach their pinnacle with one final climactic fight. Up in the top corner, bearing the red gloves, it is the runner-up of last year's Deluxe and now the potential champion of this Deluxe, the bearer of Vase Ruger and the administrator of the Trial of the Moon, Duck. Meanwhile, his opponent is one that he's already fought before and triumphed before in this event. He is the Skyfall Knight himself, hoping to rebel against the trial, overcome the final obstacle that bars him from what he seeks, the glory of being the Deluxe champion. Bingo! With me as co-commentator today, we have ourselves an actual fighter of Deluxe here. He was the bearer of Resile, the King of Miracles, which ironically was the one that won last year. Now he's here to co-commentate with me. It's Nabs. How are we doing, brother?
I am doing fine. I'm doing great. This is a pretty interesting fight for me, in both on a personal level and from an intrigue level, Josh.
I imagine it's because they're both your goats in one way or another, so I hear.
Yes, sir. From a personal standpoint, Bingo is my mouse goat, and Duck here is my moon goat. However, from an intrigue standpoint, if you recall, in the Deluxe Season 3 anime, Raika fought Kagetsu and lost. Although that fight was skipped, it was quite a shocker to see Raika just lost without any chances at all. So, with this being our final fight for Deluxe, it is quite interesting to see. It's a second chance for the Raika fans out there and the Kagetsu fans to see if that fight was just a fluke or not.
It is also quite interesting because from a fighter scenario as well, there's actually like a couple of really interesting coincidences. One could even call it fate. For Duck's side of things, as I mentioned before, he was the runner-up of last year Deluxe, and also once again bearing a Brancade deck against the final boss being a counter deck, right? So he's basically in a very similar position to where he was in last year's Deluxe, and he has that chance to basically surpass himself in his previous record in order to become crowned champion. Meanwhile, Bingo here is also an interesting position because this is actually a fight that he's already had from Block Gauge. So he has a lot of those experiences to bring to bear against this, and it's not very often that you get a second chance at the Trial of the Moon, especially in a tournament setting like this, and the same fighter to boot. But he does have that second chance, and we're going to see if that will bear fruit here. Any amount of training and preparation that he's done, visualizing the outcome, it could all come to bear. So, who would you be rooting for in this fight?
I will, despite my, I guess, intricate bloodline with Bingo, from a brother-in-arms perspective, I'm going to have to root for Duck here. He has what I would say, the more consistent and the more powerful deck out of the two, which is really weird to say against a very homogenized version of Youthberg.
Interesting. Fair enough. I actually want to go for Bingo here. I think that Bingo has the ability to adapt to matchups that he's already fallen to before, and he made crucial misplays in the previous fight that and ultimately resulted in him losing, right? So it wasn't a domination, it was a barely loss for Bingo, and I think now that he's wisened up to that experience, he will not allow those same openings to Duck, which could very well tilt the scales in his favor. And of course, on a more biased level, Youth Gang. I will always try to root for Youthberg when given the opportunity, unless it's a very dear friend on the other side of the board here. Now, with all that said, that's enough speculation. It's time to get into the action, everyone. The last fight of Deluxe begins now. Fighters, stand up, the Vanguard! They begin.
Stand up, the Vanguard.
I'll begin. Stand and draw.
Youthberg getting the first turn. He's playing in his element here.
Okay. Grade 1 youth.
And KO's a great discard here, although he didn't get the Carino to go put in an existent soul right away, and KO does set him up for a really good turn 3 stabilizing play.
Both Youthberg and Vase Ruger are basically one of those decks where whoever goes first basically wins the game.
That's the theory and prospect. However, what's interesting about this is that Duck has proven on more than one occasion that having to go second isn't a sufficient debuff to keep him out of the fight here. He's had to go second against both the Destined King as well as against KaiIcon, and he managed to handily prevail against both of them, KaiIcon especially. So he could very well do the same here. I would not count him out at all, but it is a worthy note. Youthbrick especially can exploit the merits of going first here, so this is potentially even tougher than the other ones. Ooh, he's calling down the third Mythish right away. This is a bit of a risky play here because that actually opens it up to being attacked into potentially. So he's prioritizing the aggro at the cost of potentially losing good resources later on. Oh.
However, that does mean...
Alright, I call a Mythish again.
That does mean one less damage.
Oh, he's early rushing Youthberg. Wow, what a bold play here. He's going full aggro right away.
Okay, that might just be enough to tip the scales, even if he gets damage denied.
What's crazy here is he's able to see some really good top decks out the top 5 here, so he's going super fast. And not having to suffer on the advantage engine on the side, although they aren't shielded out here. Alright. He's got a choice here. He could potentially take the damage here, and if it is a trigger, that could shut down this turn, but it is also a little risky. It depends on how he wants to do this. He guards the best routine here, it looks like, getting into the drop zone right away. Oh, okay, Duck's playing hardball. He's probably trying to angle for a critical trigger here.
Not to mention, he does not play front in this deck, but rather opting for draw triggers, so it might be better to clear out his rear guards first. Alright, no triggers there.
No trigger on the damage check. Looks like Bingo was right to guard. Okay, now it's an 8k on 8. Will he guard this, or is he willing to take a little bit of extra damage here? He does have the ability to go first, so he isn't in immediate danger, but it does take a bit of damage early.
With 2 cards out of deck already via Helgavar, Duck has a higher chance of getting a trigger here. If it's a crit, it might look really nasty for Bingo.
On the other end, he did discard a draw trigger, so there is a chance here that he might actually be holding on to some triggers in the hand. So we don't know what the other composition of his hand is. We only know 2 cards now, which is Vase Ruger and Alfini Spivaki. Oh, Bingo chooses to guard that, playing very cautiously. Now let's see the drive check and whether or not that bears fruit here. Oh, okay, so no trigger there. But it still keeps Bingo relatively safe here. Now, if he doesn't have a lot of cards, of course, however, we do have plenty of good discard fodder and the ability to build back forward thanks to the Grade 1 use skill when wrote upon. Now let's see what he's able to discard here. Again, you can do anything from Carino, maybe even Lien, another NKO, although an NKO is probably a little overkill in this scenario. What does he have to discard? I mean, heck, even an Exist is just like a viable one.
A Fire Regalis would be really nice.
Discarding the Saragown? Oh, he's not seeing the greatest hand if he has to discard Saragown. That is unfortunate. Okay, now he's going to use the skill of Youthbrick. He's going to Soul Blast in order to look at the top 5 cards of the deck, and he can either add a Youth or Call.
Alright. Let's see.
Yeah, now although Duck managed to get some really good plussing out of the way there, he still does have to fall into the detriment of leaving his held bars open to attack. And that can really hurt his resources here, because not only does talking to held bars limit his damage, but it also means that he's going to be in a position where even under limited damage, usually held bar will get you back CC to help you juggle your CB plays. That's not going to happen as well here. Oh, he's going to be adding Exist, it looks like. That's not... It helps, of course, but it doesn't help you build a board. What he needs to see here is Anyfed. Anyfed will be able to get him back on track. There it is. Anyfed can see one look at the top 7 cards of the deck and call a Grade 2 or less to the field now.
This is going to be good because he does not have a lot of targets to put back into hand via the Grade 2 Youthbrick's effect.
For sure. Besh Luchine, good hit here. This gives him a decent front row, and it also means that he can consistently aggro the held bar should Duck even attempt to guard them. Now that his power isn't quite high, this would be his best opportunity to go for them. On the other hand, though, he could simply ignore them and try and continue aggro to face, but it depends on how cautious he is. He guarded a lot, so he might be a little more mindful of the board control.
What's interesting here, more than anything,
Good tag. Okay.
That is pretty good. What's interesting here, more than anything, I think, would be the ability to add back one of the Bellustines to hand while calling the other to board, which means he has plenty of shields to use against Vicerook.
That is a potential play. I can also see him underneath it. Oh, he's attacking Vanguard. Okay, so he's going to be ignoring it, looks like.
I'm gonna guard with a 5k.
Okay, so already guarding here. So Duck is not holding up at all.
He's setting up his drop zone as much as possible for Vicerook is guarding.
Okay, that's a 23 on the Vanguard.
No guard.
Okay, that's a no guard.
Back
Let's see what he tries. Ooh, critical trigger. That's a momentum setter right there. Okay, these are exactly what you would hope for here. Okay, heal trigger is procced, but it's not going to give him the heal. That's good here. He does not want to see successful heals from Duck. Unless, of course, he sees another one right here. No, instead it's a damage check PG. Okay, this is positive for Bingo. He's a little on the back foot in terms of card advantage, but taking out key ways to defend against Youthberg right away, good sees. Now, is he going to be proccing Sargon, or will he just continue the aggression?
Either way, Josh, that is Bran right there.
That is Bran for sure. We know a lot about Bran. Oh, well, he's just attacking with Bedestein. He's going to keep the Sargon on board, which is fairly like, it is going to proc because of NKO most likely. He's attacking Vanguard, so he completely ignores the Hellfire to go for the offense. In the last fight, Bingo ended up losing the fight in large part due to prioritizing his offense on the rears and not going for face. It seems that even with the golden opportunity of Hellfire there, he is going to maintain his position in not repeating that mistake here. So let us see if that works out in this scenario. That is one of those areas in which he has developed from their previous encounter. Discarding Fire Regalis is a very strong discard for Vicerook, which usually lacks good discard targets. Now with the skill of his grade 2, he's going to be able to look at the top 7 cards of the deck. He can add one Mythish from among them to the hand, and the other Mythish goes into the order zone. He's got good options here. Roldsneer is definitely a good play in order to get him card advantage. No matter what, you want to see Roldsneer early if you can help it. Ooh, and that's going to be the second Mythish in the order zone. It makes things bad to worse here. He's got plenty of CB and also CC on board, so it's very likely that he may shotgun that, even though it's generally against Duck's policy to shotgun that on a turn 3 play.
And I'll use Fire Regalis.
Oh, he's proccing Fire Regalis right now. Okay, so he must be fiending for some extra advantage here. Generally speaking, it's better to keep that in reserve as a method to shuffle the deck after you put back a lot of Mythishes. So he must be feeling the pressure here. Calling down a third Helgvar. This third Mythish is putting in the work in this final match. Once again, he can look at the top 5 cards of the deck to try and get a plus from among them. Will this work again? He gets another Vase Root. Okay. That's good. He's got some hand. But the interesting thing, though, is we still know he's got Alfinis Volbagi and 2 Vase Roots in that hand. So that hand is not as strong as it seems. Double Rotsenir. Ooh.
He does have the energy to make full use of that, which means he's also going to gun down his front row as well.
The thing, though, is thankfully without Vase Root as the Vanguard, he can't do the Doji attack. He can only attack one at a time.
Ah. That is very good for Bingo. However, it is going to be a +2 to his hand.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like it's going 18 on Vanguard. They're both going so aggressive on one another. Okay, will Bingo take the damage here and hope for a defensive? Or this is a bit of a tough one to guard for sure. Without it being a grade 3, even if he were to see, say, a front trigger, he wouldn't be able to one-card guard it. What's his scenario?
But Duck doesn't play front trigger.
Well, I mean, for Bingo here, historically in this event, he does play the normal 20k shield fronts, but it wouldn't be able to be activated here. Yeah, meanwhile, Draw Trigger would do wonders for Duck here. Try to dig into PGs if you can find any, because he's got some discard fodder here.
If Bingo can just get one defensive here, it basically opts him to be able to use both of his intercepts effectively.
Right. One of the scary things for Duck as well is that unless he has high quality shield targets, if this drive check doesn't find him good purchase, he's gonna need a hard rely on those draws to get him good defensive units. And again, without Vase Rooker, he can't get the extra shield bonus on Mythishes. So ironically, he could brick on Mythishes here. These Roldsneers are not the greatest thing to want to intercept with. Oh! Guarding and intercepting. He's going to go for a no pass, looks like. This is going to get Beshutine into the drop zone. One of the interesting things about this play is that he can operate on 0 damage, so he's not afraid of a damage deny. Okay, so now we're gonna have to see what Duck's drive check is. It's a critical trigger. Okay, very scary here.
Power creative Archiner.
We know Exist is in the hand, so assuming the last card isn't some super strong guard, he's probably gonna have to go to 4.
Let's see. I'm gonna attack. I'll be safe. I'll just attack your Vanguard first with the crit. When EB
Okay. He's going to go 33 here. Looks like he's going for EB to draw on that one. Alright, he's being a little conscious on his CB usage right now because Hellcard can't convert into Soul to counter attrition taste on Vaster. Surprisingly, despite the ability to rush really strong, Vaster does have a lot of effects that only go fully online once you are on base here. Okay, so unless Bingo's holding on to some super nutty defense here, he's gonna have to take 2 damage. Yep, there it comes. So let's see what his damage checks are here. First damage is an KO, not too great, but it's not too big of a deal either. Heal trigger! Oh! Now he's got a choice. Does he want to heal the NKO or does he want to heal the CB? Because he's got a choice here. That's a good choice too. He heals to get the CB online. Okay, I think I know this plan now. Thanks to that power boost, he will be able to intercept with any Fed, which is perfect for him because he can then recur it back to the hand. So even though we get to see Duck having a bit of a good hand here, wow, Bingo really navigated that like battle phase really effectively. This feels like a different fighter compared to the last time where it felt like he was really drowning from when Duck was coming at him. Okay, now it's the Skyfall Knight's turn to take the stage. Dark night, destined to struck the heavens, arise once more. 유스백의 Skyfall arms rebuild Rhino. Okay, with grade 2 use skill, he can Energy Blast 3 now in order to recur back a grade 2 or greater card from the drop zone to the hand. My guess is he gets any Fed here. Additionally, he can Soul Blast in order to call Belushtin from the drop zone, which looks like he's resolving that first before Ride skill. Alright, monitoring drop zone here real quick, just so I can see. I'm pretty sure he's going to be adding that though. Unless, of course, he goes for the Vesture Team play that you were talking about earlier, which would be kind of funny now. Okay, yep, Anyfed is the one that gets picked up here. And because he has Nebula Knight's Order online, even with Duck out of full field, Duck will not be able to deny Sarah Bounce this turn, which is beautiful. Okay, Nebula Knights is next to get played, looking at the top 7 cards of the deck. Now, I do recall a couple times in which this didn't exactly snag him a good target, but maybe Fortunes will be able to blow a favorable wind his way now. This is the most important match in potentially Bingo's entire card fighting career up to this point. He cannot afford to fail now. Carino, good pickup. Getting him another Exist is perfect here. And thanks to Anyfed being able to be called here, Anyfed can Soul Blast it out in order to make it available to him. Okay, this is good for him. He's able to min-max his board in hand as much as possible. Okay, and again, we have to remember, Duck got some good draws, so he could be able to guard this, or he may need to rely on Bingo not seeing good triggers to break through whatever hand he has. This could be quite flimsy. A lot of order cards, maybe Mythishes, including Anger Bolt, which is an additional brick here. Those could all work against him. We need to see what it is that he's got to hold on to. Okay.
I think he hit a good target of anything.
For sure. If you see something like a Saragown here, Nebs, he's in the driver's seat.
Yep. Even
Carino will do as well, though. Carino will definitely do. More deck thinning, and now his Exists are going to be online turn after turn after turn. And of course, we have to remember, Base Rig is a very aggressive strategy. It's not one to hold off on the damage when given the chance to swing base. So he can reliably count on that CB to keep coming his way. This is huge for him. Okay. Now he's got 2 Exist in the Soul, and he's got 1 in the hand here. He has the ability to do it from the hand if he wants to conserve CV, or more than likely what he's going to do is he's going to Soul Blast when he attacks with any Fed on the first battle. This will allow him the ability to get the Exist into the drop zone. That means that the other Exist in the hand becomes a discard fodder in order to regain the drive, which means that now you've got them all in circulation again to recur. Yep, and just like that, like clockwork, he's going any Fed first. Soul Blasting the Exist to get an extra 5,000 power. That puts him at 15 for a 10k shield guard.
15 tier Vanguard.
Oh, double intercept.
Ooh, having the double intercept the Waltzineers is painful, unfortunately. He won't be able to recur anything back, so they're just stuck in the drop zone for now.
Boosted his tear down.
It might have been better if he had boosted there.
Depends. If he sees some criticals here, then this works out.
Hard.
It's true.
Ooh. First check. Ooh, front trigger. His rear guard's going to get some extra power from that. Alright, now the second check. Oh, Fire Regardless. This may actually be a fantastic discard fodder for him. Rogue, that's no defensive. Okay, so Duck's still going to have to deal with some extra aggression. Not to mention Sergion able to get him a card now. This is so far so good. He hasn't seen super dynamic checks or anything like that, and Duck is still holding on to a pretty decent hand here, so there's a good likelihood he'll be able to survive to the turn 3. But this is just Youthberg getting started here. If Youth can get to its turn 4, especially the Persona play, Duck's going to have to need to see some extraordinary cards to get out of that one. Alright, adding a card, and now, Ochiro, Dokomate no Revoltress. From the drop zone, he revolve dresses into Youthberg. Revolve form existo. Using skills, restanding the rear guard, getting 10,000 in the front row, and discarding a card to regain a drive to exist. Okay.
And the discard he showed will be.
I would imagine he's going to go for Fire Regardless there. Yep, perfect. Good discard fodder.
My Vanguard attacks. 23 tier Vanguard.
It's gonna be no pass.
Ooh, okay, a nice no pass right there. That's a good guard from Duck. Now he can ensure that he can live the turn here unless a critical is checked. Okay, no critical, but PG is a good pickup here. Every little bit helps here. Okay, now unless Duck wants to keep guarding, he's gonna have to probably go to 5 in this case. Very dubious position.
Oh, check the damage.
140
I can't imagine that being. I cannot imagine that being a particularly good thing because Youthberg is going to get even bigger next time. Critical trigger. If Duck can guard this next one, he might be able to handle
hold up.
next turn.
He would need to give 25 shield for that though. Not an easy ask considering we know 3 cards in his hands are bricks. Minimum.
So I'm gonna go to 5.
He's going to 5, he declares. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's brutal for him, but he just has to deal with it. Ooh, losing a Rogue. Okay. This is pretty crazy. Duck has been pushed up against the wall right away by Youthberg, who's aggressively going out the gate swinging. Both of these fighters are putting everything on the board and on the line to try and seize the crown. Now he discards out Phoenix Phobaki. A golden light stands in the way. The guardian who tames the otherworldly Mythish. Prepare yourself, for the trial of the moon has begun. Raido, keeper of the moon gate, Visuruga.
I'll Soul Dash 2, top 7.
Okay. Should be easy time to build back some Mythishes here. Get a good offense going and see where it goes from there. Oh, Anger Bolt has dropped onto the field. The new ultimate Mythish for Vase Root. And also the second Mythish. Now, Anger Bolt, of course, has to go into the order zone here. Oh, and it looks like he picked up a Ragnarok as well. So, not a very powerful frontline unit, but it does mean that his more powerful win conditions can stay in the order zone where they need to be for optimal combat. Okay, he will be burning the extra 3 Energy Blast in order to use the Moon Gate here. Typically, I would have expected a call from the hand by this point and use the extra for Waltzineer, because Waltzineer is stuck in the drop zones there. He likely didn't see another copy yet, so he had to play it this way. Anger Bolt again, obviously to the order zone, but it's starting to be a little bit of a weird sauce for him. Okay, his strongest mythish, as he calls it, the second mythish. Seeing a lot of snake, well, this is actually a little bit odd. Usually he has a bit of a harder time seeing all these snakes. Okay, so it looks like Snake's going to go to the field, and Anchor Bolt obviously has to go in the order zone. It can't touch the field yet. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if he's got that Efligomani, because he did discard his Spolvagi, so Spolvagi is live if he goes for that. It's the lower hitting one, but it can work. Oh, Ragnarok's getting called over. Oh, he does see the rolls in here. Okay. Interestingly, and he goes out spinny. Okay, so it's less power. All Mythicists this turn are only going to get 5,000 from this skill, but he does save on the CB. He has triple health bar, so he's going to get tons of soul. Basically, no CB deficit. And he's able to attack multiple units and get a lot of good power. Thanks to the skill of the second Mythish, he's going to get an extra 15,000 power in addition to the 5,000 from Alfini because Alfini was played. Both the opponent's great theory greater. This is a really good board here. Now, what I'm thinking Doug meant to do there is try to deck in as much as possible. If I was him, I would probably be digging for solutions, heal triggers, PG, so it's a good call.
However, not being able to alias this turn is a sick and twisted turn of fate because he has gone on to, shall we say, be a paragon of running 3 A-lifts in deck to see it consistently by turn 2.
Okay, so he's attacking both units simultaneously for 33. Unfortunately, Bench Routine, while a strong interceptor, it doesn't reflect kindly when Roltzinger's on the prowl. So this would be a 25 shield in order to guard either of them. Well, Bingo cough up shield here. Okay, so that's the play here. Bingo's going to intercept and get that out of dodge there. But of course, the rear guard's going to have to take a hit, so that's unfortunate.
I'll use this.
Okay, now he's going to use the skill of his final Mythish. From the drop zone, he's got Roltzinir and that, so he would need to get rid of Hellfar in order to use it, which is a little bit of an awkward position, because generally speaking, you would want to have the Hellfar be one of the drop zone cards. That's one of the things that kind of keeps us is a mostly turn 4 play, because Hellfar is stuck in Soul until turn 4 to Soul lasted out. So he does actually get rid of the Hellfar in order to just get this card going. So now he deploys the Lunar Titan as well as the second Mythish. He's going for his endgame play right off the bat. Okay, so my anticipations were right. He's feeling the pressure. He's got to try and end it now if he gets the chance. So he's going full throttle right off the bat.
This will be 31.
Probably why he didn't use Helgavar's effect. However, with 2 Helgavars on board, that is still a double counter charge regardless. So it's not too much of a disadvantage.
Right, the reason he did that is because he needs to have Hellfar present in either the drop zone or the field to put back for the Lunar Titan. So because he didn't have one in the drop zone, he had to use it from the fields in order to resolve Hellfar. Not Hellfar, in order to resolve Anger Bolt.
Anger Bolt.
No guard.
But
okay, this is a no guard. He's going to have to take the chance here. Drive checks are important.
Alright, first check.
But despite that, that is still his best.
Good for next turn, not great here.
Check.
PG is good pickup, but it's not a trigger. Okay, Bingo is very likely able to survive this battle phase now. As a matter of fact, we know he has a PG, so he can definitely survive this battle phase. That means now Duck has got to make do with an 8-card hand against a potential Persona Ride exist. This is insane.
Vanguard.
However, there is one way Duck can reliably survive the next turn, which is to use Fluctuate Buster Barrage. If he can just have that one out, he might just be safe.
He might be safe. Okay, so this is 30,000 on the Vanguard. So now this is an interesting question. If Bingo's holding onto a little bit of extra shield, he may guard this one and just go up to 5 from the other 2, which saves his PG for potential next turn. Otherwise, he may just take some damages. Either way, he has the ability to survive, so it's just more a matter of how can he best survive this turn while keeping himself in the most advantageous position. And, I mean, shoot, from his position, as long as he can preserve his pieces, he's fine. He just needs to preserve pieces for clapback. One question is, does he have Persona Ride? He doesn't guard, okay. Damage texture to a PG is unfortunate, but so be it.
That is the thing that I've been wondering as well. If he has no way to guarantee Persona Ride here, Duck might just live.
Duck might live. One of the unfortunate things is that he doesn't have the ability to recur back the persona anymore because his ride line's already procced. But he has both Fire Regardless as well as NKO and Drop Zone, so he should be able to build back board really easily next turn. He does not need to fear. Okay, so he takes the attack from the Lunar Titan. Damage check is innocuous, so that means that his PG has to come down here.
This will be much of this just like 48k Vanguard.
Alright, 48k Vanguard, and there's the PG coming on down. It's a good thing he picked that up. Okay, discarding Exist. So now he has 3 CB, more than enough to be able to replenish board, get back Exist here. Everyone.
However, with the Mythish Titan going into the drop at the end of turn, that is another unit that can another target for Vice Ruger's guarding effect.
Potentially. Having said that, with so many Mythishes in the drop zone, the Lunar Titan going down there doesn't
I'm
particularly
thinking, should I
matter.
use this shit now?
Alright. Okay.
I won't use the CC right now.
So
I'll
he's
just
going to...
press no.
He's not going to use Helvar, it looks like. He's going to just keep it on the field. Interesting.
So the CC can, like, wait.
Okay. The big turn. What has Bingo got?
Have the persona.
I'll go into main phase.
Okay, no Persona Ride. That helps out. He's only got to worry about a potential 20,000 in the front row now. So that's good for him. But he's still holding on to 2 Vice Rugers in the hand, which is bricky, even though he has a PG for at least one of them. All right. Naming Light's Order is going to proc here. What is he going to see off the top 7?
If he can just get an Enifig. Not
If
having
anything
Persona
would
right
be here, too.
Oh,
Sergown, not a bad shout there. Sergown does good. At the end of the day, ensuring that he has a booster is his top priority because anything can theoretically be attacker, especially in Youthbird.
even though he can build board back up, not being able to call Bellison from drop really does suck.
It does suck. He will have to use 1 card in hand in order to fill up his formation, even after Fire Recall procs. Unless, of course, he sees anything, which would be helpful.
Does he have the end?
Calls
No.
exist. Okay, we're in a little bit of a weird position. One of the nice things though is that assuming he doesn't have another really strong attacker like any Fed or Best Team would imagine he doesn't. What's important here to note is that can actually be a really good restand target because on its own it's already going to hit like magic numbers as a restand for 33. Okay. Now what we got here? He's got
Think of
to
the edge of the line here.
for sure. What's he gonna do? He's got to call something to that front row. He's in a position to kill. He needs to maximize his offense as much as possible. Anything will do here. Literally anything will. Okay, he moves up to the front row and calls down a critical trigger, and that does it. He now has the ability to throw in that column spell. That's good. Okay, the final battle might be commencing here and now. Will the Skyfall Knight finally succeed and overcome the Trial of the Moon? Or will Vice Rug ever be forever out of his reach?
13k near Vanguard.
He goes 13.
13.
Smart move here. Mythish's guard for 10k shield, so boosting here wasn't helpful.
However, on the contrary, if he chooses to guard with a Mythish here and not use Vice Rigger's skill anyway, that is another target for the shield effect.
It wouldn't help out, because when a Mythish puts something else on the bottom of the deck, it itself then goes into the drop zone anyway, so it's just a continuous cycle.
So your
What I'm saying
Vanguard.
is, it is yet just another target for Vice Rigger's effect.
Alright, I think so.
So, even if he cannot take advantage of Vice Rigger for this battle, it'll still be helpful for his other battles.
Let's see. I'm counting. It's me 13, 23, 23. Okay. Alright, let's. what I do right now. Alright, I think I'm gonna take a damage.
Ooh. Here's the moment. If he's gonna take a damage, let's see. Will he be able to once again pull out a miracle to keep in the fight? Or has the Trial Moon come to an end?
3, 2, 1.
He's counting his blessings.
Damage.
Over triggered! He done it again! Once again sacking the 6 damage heal! This man is legendary! Holy!
Okay.
Holy! Not only is it 10,000 power, it's also a draw! How does he do it? Always seeing the card he needs to live!
Blessed by the Moon Kid himself. That one
Truly!
card might just
When
bring
his
down
skills falter,
everything.
his luck does not!
Okay, so this is 26. Okay. 3 and okay.
Wow. Insane work
That
there.
simple 15k guard here is a 2 to pass.
Okay. I'm just gonna.
That's how impactful that overtrigger was.
What luck.
Oh,
To think
exactly.
Duck would be... I've lost count. I believe he's done that maneuver at least 3 times this event.
This is gonna be like no
It's
pass.
quite impressive. It just shows how much deck thinning that Vice Trigger is capable of.
Okay, check 1. That's a front trigger, not bad. It's a good thing that he no-passed it, because if there was another trigger checked here, the 2 to pass would have broken automatically. Okay, second check is Saragon. It's not a trigger, but Saragon can still pick up a card for him. This is tense. For a second there, Bingo had it, but once again, it was just out of his reach for now. But he still fights on as always.
So okay, let me just take away these powers real quick. Alright.
Alright, Bartek your card, and now Ochiro, Tokamatemu, Revo Presse, Yusibek Revo Form Existo. Okay, so on the bright side, even though Duck managed to pull out the OT, he did it on the weakest attack. Now the bigger attacks are coming on in here. Let's see if he has the shield value to be able to fully guard these attacks. 20,000 power goes to the front row now. This is a lot, and critical going to exist here. Discarding a card will also let him regain back a drive. Let's see if he has the optimal discard. Carino, okay.
Carino.
Is a potential recursion piece if he had another exist in the draw, but he doesn't, and I believe he's out of them in the deck now, so it's not going to be too helpful here. He's just having a discard.
Alright, attack the Vanguard, 33 double crit.
This will be no pass. No pass.
He no passes it again. Wow, look at all those heals out. That OT. That really was like a 1 in 20? Insanity. Oh, critical trigger. Okay, good pressure there.
That is true.
Okay, so with that no pass, he knows that there is a PG in his hand. So he may be better off spreading out that power. Who gets the critical?
Spreading the power. Ooh.
This is getting tense. I think my heart just about to drop.
No kidding. Wow. I must say, I am so proud of Bingo. In my heart, he already won this turn, but let's see if he can win for real.
If only you and I were physically next to each other, because I could have used someone to hold my hand here.
I feel that too, brother. Okay, he's gonna give it over to Carino, looks like, so that's where the calculations are at.
Alright.
This is going to be 23, 43, 51 to your Vanguard.
He's going 51 on the
I will
defense
PG.
He PGs. That must mean he likely has another PG in the hand already.
Then
Or
attack with
fluctuate Buster Barrage.
This is going to be 28,
I will PG.
48.
He PGs it. Yep. Okay,
PG.
so he managed to lift in the next turn. We know Vaseruk has a Persona Ride. Ooh. Bingo has to pass the turn. He's at 5 damage, and unfortunately, it's not like his hand's the god hand. That
Alright.
was his best turn, but it wasn't enough. Now, Vaseruk Persona Rides what could be the final turn of Deluxe. 10,000 power goes to the front row, he draws a
I'll
card.
EV3.
He pulls down Hellcar. Oh, he's EBing 3 in order to ensure his order.
Like
Which means-
Ethelic Gumani can proc here, and he's got the CCs now. Oh wow, things are turning out perfectly. He's Soul Blast 2, which means that Hellbar can now be in the drop zone for Anger Bolt.
Yep, okay. I'll call you.
Calling Roxanir as well. It goes from bad to worse. All 3 Mythishes are now present in the field, and with Anger Bolt in the order zone, he's full power. And calling down Ravenor from the hand, and goes Ethelic Gumani.
With Helgavar's countercharge, he has the amount of CB he needs to call down Anger Bolt.
And he's also got the second Mythish play as well online. He's got everything he needs. What a turn of events. I don't know how this fighter does it. I don't know how he keeps seeing the card necessary to live, but he does it. And now that he has, he's in prime position to take the victory.
Alright. EB3, draw 1, I'll attack. Oh, what's his name?
43
I'll
on that
attack
man.
3. This will be 43.
Calculate his damage to see if he has at least one more heal trigger in deck.
From what we can see, I think we've only seen one in this fight. And we also haven't seen his Overdress proc yet, I believe. He has his chances now. I wonder.
4 potential cards to get him out.
Yeah. Assuming he
18
hasn't
cards in
drawn-
deck.
They aren't the worst odds. Who will take this one?
Pretty good odds, actually.
Thinking about it. A 4 in 18 chance.
You know
What?
And the moment. A damage check. No trigger! And with that, ladies and gentlemen, with a come from behind victory through fate itself granting a miracle, it is Duck and Vaserug! The trial of the moon has come to an end, determining him to be the strongest. With all that, welcome your new champion of Deluxe, Duck!
Yay!
I'm proud of you,
won.
Duck. You did it. You redeemed yourself from last time. And you didn't just... It's not a simple miracle. It's one that he made using his own hands.
You tell them.
Congratulations.
I mean, thank you. Good games, Vanguard. That was very difficult, actually. I was kind of sweating through most of it, so... Very good game from you.
Very
that
well
was a good
fought,
game.
fellas. Now, with that said, our champion Deluxe has been settled, and we can congratulate him and usher him into the throne. But, even with Deluxe ended, that doesn't mean the fun has to end here. With that said, we've got plenty of other Vanguard content coming on the way in this channel, whether it be top 10s, fight nights, custom card reviews, anime reactions, and so much more. We do it all here, so go ahead and check it out. And if you like what you see, then be sure to subscribe to the channel to support us, like, comment, and also smash the notification bell so you don't miss out the next time I upload. With all that said, take care, God bless, and see you in the next one, fighters.